Imagine a situation in which one of the most influential technology companies in the world suddenly decides to enter a space where the fiercest competition on the planet is already taking place, a market where billions of dollars are burned on development, where even giants make mistakes, and where the bet is placed not just on a product but on the future of an entire industry. And right now, more and more insider signals indicate that Nvidia may be preparing a move that until recently seemed impossible, namely, the potential development of its own car. And not just a car, but a fully AI-oriented product that is created from the very beginning as an intelligent system rather than a classic vehicle. According to information from the industry, inside Nvidia, the idea of moving from the role of a technology supplier to creating its own end product is being discussed more and more often. And this is logical, because today, the company is effectively at the center of the entire AI revolution. As its chips are used to train neural networks, its technologies form the foundation of autonomous driving, and its solutions are already embedded in cars around the world. And at some point, a natural question arises. If you already have the brain, if you have the software platform, if you have access to data and infrastructure, then what prevents you from creating a complete device, in this case, a car? And this is where the most interesting part begins, because a potential car from Nvidia would not be an attempt to replicate what others have already done, but an attempt to rethink the very concept of a vehicle. Because today, even companies like Tesla build their cars around the idea of electric transport and autonomous driving, but the architecture itself remains largely traditional, as it is still a car into which technology has been embedded, whereas Nvidia could take the opposite approach and create technology within which a car appears. This may sound like a nuance, but in practice, it is a huge difference, because in such an approach, the key element becomes not the engine, not the body, and not even the range, but intelligence, a central system that controls everything from movement and safety to the interface and interaction with the user, which means the car ceases to be just a means of transportation and turns into a computing platform on wheels. And if you look at what Nvidia already possesses, it becomes clear why such discussions have appeared at all, as the company is a leader in the field of GPUs and AI accelerators that are used to train the most complex artificial intelligence models. The Nvidia Drive platform already makes it possible to create high-level autonomous driving systems. And moreover, Nvidia is actively developing simulation environments in which neural networks are trained on millions of scenarios before they ever enter the real world. And all of this together forms an almost ready foundation for creating an intelligent vehicle. At the same time, one important thing cannot be ignored, which is that developing a car is not just another product, but one of the most complex challenges in the industry, involving thousands of components, safety that must function flawlessly, production, logistics, certification, and responsibility for human lives. And even companies like Apple have reportedly faced serious difficulties when trying to enter this market, which is why many experts believe that if Nvidia truly decides to take such a step, it will not be a quick launch, but a long-term project that could take years. Nevertheless, Nvidia has something that most automakers do not, namely deep expertise in artificial intelligence. If in the coming years AI becomes the main factor of competitiveness in vehicles, then the balance of power on the market could change dramatically, because in that case, the winners will not be those who build cars better, but those who train intelligence better. This is where a scenario appears that until recently seemed like science fiction. Imagine a car that does not simply follow predefined algorithms, but truly understands what is happening around it. A car that analyzes the situation in real time, anticipates the actions of other road users, and adapts to the owner's driving style. A car that becomes not a tool, but a partner. And if such a product appears, it will automatically become a competitor, not only for Tesla, but also for all traditional automakers. Because this will no longer be just a new car model, it will be a new class of devices. At the same time, the most realistic scenario at the first stage is not a direct entry of Nvidia as a classic automaker, but the creation of a so-called reference vehicle, a prototype that will demonstrate what a new generation AI-driven car can be, while production, as it is now, can be handed over to partners, allowing the company to focus on the main thing, namely intelligence and the software platform. But even such a step can trigger a chain reaction, because if Nvidia shows that a car can be built around AI from the ground up, it will force the entire industry to rethink its approach, and then a real race will begin, not for horsepower, not for design, but for intelligence. And in this race, Nvidia has one of the strongest starting positions, because it is already at the center of this revolution. And the question is no longer whether this is possible, but when it will happen. And there is another point that makes this situation especially interesting, and even somewhat underestimated amid all the discussions, because this is not only about creating the car itself, but about the role it will play in the ecosystem of the future. If you look at the development of technology in recent years, it becomes obvious that devices are gradually ceasing to be separate elements and are beginning to merge into a unified, intelligent environment, as smartphones, smart homes, and wearable devices are already working as a single system. And in this context, the car becomes the next logical step. If Nvidia really moves toward its own AI-driven car, then with high probability, it will be deeply integrated into the user's digital ecosystem, which means the vehicle will be able to synchronize with other devices, understand your day before you even get behind the wheel, and adapt to your tasks in real time. It will know where you are going, why you are going, and how to make this process as efficient and comfortable as possible. And this is no longer just convenience, but a new level of interaction with technology. Moreover, such a car could become part of a broader infrastructure where vehicles communicate with each other and with the surrounding environment, as roads, traffic lights, and parking systems could all turn into a unified network managed by data and algorithms. And here, Nvidia again finds itself in a strong position because the company is already actively developing solutions for processing massive volumes of data in real time. But this is also where the main challenge appears, because the smarter the system becomes, the higher the requirements for its reliability. As an error in a smartphone is an inconvenience, but an error in a car is a risk, and that is why the development of such a product requires not just technology, but an entirely new level of quality control, testing, and safety. And if Nvidia truly decides to take this step, it will have to prove not only that it can create the smartest car, but also that it can make it the safest, and this may be the most difficult task in this entire story. And yet, despite all the risks and complexities, the very idea of a car from Nvidia is already changing the perception of the market. Because it is a signal that the boundaries between technology companies and manufacturers are beginning to blur, and in the coming years, we may see how exactly such players will define what the transport of the future will become.